Hello, thank you for taking some time to watch this presentation. I am pre-recording the presentation, typically done during the PTCC annual meeting, to save time for questions, allow more time for necessary business items, and shorten the time needed for the virtual meeting. This presentation provides a review of the 2020 year and attempts to provide some projections for 2021. While not comprehensive, this should give a good sense of the accomplishments and activities completed and what to expect in the coming year. As always, I like to start with a look back at where we started. The PT Compact Commission was officially established in May of 2017 when the first 10 states enacted the model legislation. Quickly thereafter, more states joined, and by the time of the first in-person annual meeting in New Mexico on November 1st, 2017, we already had 14 states from across the country. However, since we were still finalizing the system to verify eligibility and allow issuance of privileges, and we were still finalizing the governing documents, we still had not issued any compact privileges as of that meeting. The first states completed implementation and began issuing compact privileges in July 2018, leading to 6 states being active by the 2018 annual meeting. With the help of our friends at APTA and FSBBT, we successfully added 7 more compact states that year. 2019 saw a rapid increase in the number of states completing implementation and actively issuing and accepting compact privileges, as well as 5 more states enacting legislation to join the compact. With more than 16 active states, many more PTs and PTAs were finally able to get compact privileges, and we were able to see the tremendous interest in participation. Which brings us to this year. Despite the impact of COVID-19, which we will discuss later, the PT Compact was able to grow in both member states and number of active states. At the time of this recording, there are 20 states actively issuing and accepting compact privileges, 8 more member states working on implementation, and 4 jurisdictions still considering legislation for the legislative session. With more than half of the jurisdictions as part of the PT Compact and many others considering introducing legislation in the coming year, the Commission is steadily working towards its goal of having all jurisdictions eventually included, and ultimately allowing the increased mobility and portability for all eligible PTs and PTAs. The remaining states have enacted compact legislation but are not yet ready to accept or issue compact privileges, are working hard to pass rules and implement new processes to be ready as soon as possible. Except for the states that just joined the compact in 2020, most of the implementation issues have been due to long administrative processes to get approval for things like data sharing, the adoption of rules, or getting approval to require FBI criminal background checks. In many cases, efforts to complete implementation have been delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. State boards and other agencies responsible for key parts of implementation were tasked with dealing with emergency efforts as PTs and PTAs are essential workers. For example, legislative efforts in South Carolina to make necessary fixes to the FBI criminal background check language were tabled in favor of only COVID-specific legislation. The very timeframes for rules processes already make it difficult to provide good timelines for implementation, but unexpected delays like COVID-19 make it nearly impossible. However, thanks to the efforts of the member state boards, we are hopeful several more states will be ready in the very near future. Despite some issues related to COVID-19, I am happy to report there was significant growth in the issuance of compact privileges. In fact, as you can see in this chart, the PT Compact saw its largest growth in compact issuance with an average of about 200 compact privileges being issued per month so far in 2020. These numbers far exceed the 105 compact privileges we had estimated during last year's annual meeting. While it is difficult to determine all the factors that have contributed to the growth, it is likely that several factors played a part, including more states becoming active that border existing active states, an increase in the need to get the privilege to practice in other states in order to maintain the continuity of care after the pandemic separated patients and physical therapists, the continued dissemination of information to the physical therapy community, including new graduates and travelers, assistance from organizations like APTA to help spread the benefits and the word about the compact to a wider audience, and the beginning of more state license renewal cycles, allowing for the opportunity to consider compact privileges as an alternative for out-of-state licensees. As I did last year, I will break down the compact privilege numbers a little further to help everyone get a better picture of where the interest is coming from. You can quickly see by looking at the map that 6 states have already issued more than 100 compact privileges this year, and 10 states have issued more than 50 privileges so far. By comparison, last year at this time, only 6 states had issued more than 50 privileges, and no states had issued more than 100 in the same number of months. The next couple slides break down the numbers further, showing how many compact privileges were issued by state and by type. Please note that these do not represent individual PTs or PTAs, since many hold multiple compact privileges in various states. I'm not going to discuss each state, but feel free to pause the video to take a closer look. Here are just a few highlights. Washington currently has the most compact privileges issued in 2020, with 187, followed closely by Colorado and Texas. Tennessee and Texas have issued the most PTA compact privileges, with 42 and 43, respectively. Another important thing to note is that all 20 of the active states have PTs and PTAs seeking compact privileges in their state. So that demonstrates the compact is being utilized and sought after in all active compact states. As of September 30th, 2020, the Commission issued more than 1,826 compact privileges, already exceeding the budgeted projections by more than 600, with 3 months left in the fiscal year. That is fantastic growth at any time, and definitely during difficult times like this. Next, I want to provide everyone with a different perspective on the compact, specifically how the compact benefits licensees in your jurisdiction. The next couple slides show the number of PTs and PTAs in their home jurisdictions who hold at least one compact privilege in another state. As you can see, there are licensees in each jurisdiction who see the value in the compact and are seeking compact privileges in other states. These are licensees with permanent residence in your jurisdiction or experience increased mobility and portability thanks to the efforts of your board. These total more than 1,300 licensees in just 2020 so far. In this snapshot, approximately 79% are PTs and 21% are PTAs. So states like Texas not only have hundreds of new compact privilege holders coming into their state, they also have hundreds of PT and PTA licensees seeking compact privileges out of their state. There's a lot of data on these next few slides, so as before, please feel free to pause this presentation to look at each one more closely. This data offers all compact privileges issued from the beginning of July 2018, when we first started issuing compact privileges, through September 30th, 2020. The point of these slides are to provide you with a deeper understanding of which states have the most compact privilege activity year over year and what the deep breakdown is between jurisdictions. The top row in gray indicates where the home state of the licensee is, while the left-hand column in blue lists the compact privilege state. The table also provides a year-to-year breakdown of compact privileges issued, as well as the totals. For example, here you can see that Missouri, who has been active in the compact since 2018, has issued a total of 125 compact privileges since that time, with the majority occurring in 2020. You can also see that the most people seeking compact privileges in Missouri had home state of Texas and Tennessee. Also, as would be expected, a border state like North Carolina saw a significant increase in compact privilege numbers when Virginia became active in 2020, with Virginia quickly becoming the state with the most people seeking compact privileges in North Carolina at 32. Furthermore, even states like Oklahoma, who only became active in 2020, saw great interest from licensees living in the border state of Texas, which has been active in the compact since 2019. The last slide of this table provides the totals since July 2018, with more than 2,600 compact privileges being issued to date in 20 states. A great accomplishment in just over 2 years, and we are just getting started. But before I move on to 2021, I want to make sure the 2020 activities, I can highlight just a few of the 2020 activities that have helped us get to this point. Of course, the growth and interest in the compact did not happen in a vacuum. On the contrary, there was a lot of work done by the Compact Commission delegates, staff, our partners at APTA and FSPPT, state associations, and Compact member state boards. First, thanks to our friends at APTA and their connections, together we were able to resolve a major issue with Medicare refusing to recognize compact privileges for purposes of enrollment as a provider. While we were always confident that it would eventually be resolved, it was a major concern that could have had dramatic consequences had it not turned out in our favor. Thankfully, Medicare not only notified us that their general counsel agreed compact privileges should be recognized, but also issued an MLN Matters article making it clear that privileges from all health professions, professional compacts should be recognized in the future. As I mentioned earlier, we had 4 states become active in 2020. Thanks to the staff and boards of the Arkansas, Oklahoma, Virginia, and West Virginia for their work to implement the compact requirements. The addition of these key border states no doubt had an influence on the overall increase in compact privileges issued this year. Once again, we work closely with FSPPT and APTA to encourage the introduction and passage of the compact model language. Although this met with mixed results and was hampered by the pandemic, which I will discuss further in a few minutes, we were still able to be successful in 2 states, with another 4 still being considered. We have also worked to improve the resources available to better explain some of the more complicated aspects of the compact. With the help and expertise of FSPPT staff, we have created short videos on the basics of the PT compact, jurisprudence requirements, definition of home state, and how to renew compact privileges. As with any maturing organization, we have begun the process of improvement through increased focus on compliance. In addition to continuing efforts to make sure compact privilege seekers and holders are in compliance with compact requirements, we also began working with states to make sure they are in compliance too. Staff is working with member states on several key areas, including weekly submission of licensee data, entry of disciplinary data, flagging of encumbrances and investigations, and the transition from the use of SNSENS to FSPPT ID. The goal of the effort is to work collaboratively with state boards to provide training and remediation to get everyone up to the high standards required by the compact. Although COVID-19 didn't have a direct impact on the compact, it was still something we had to deal with. With the cooperation of the member state boards, we were able to identify those states that suddenly had to provide waivers of requirements such as the FBI, CBC, and work within our existing framework to make sure those individuals were not made eligible for the compact privileges until all requirements were met. Other changes such as renewal extensions were also addressed thanks to the cooperation of the state boards. Although not something anyone wanted, the situation did demonstrate the ability of the compact to be flexible and also demonstrated the benefits of a quick, effective, and easy alternative way to gain the privilege of practice in times of crisis, when some state board offices were forced to temporarily close. There was also continued outreach and communications in 2020. Staff exhibited and presented at APTA CSM in Denver, We are also scheduled to present at APTA NSC and ELC later this year, which will be a great opportunity to get in front of more students and educators. Thanks to our friends at APTA, we also participated in a student assembly podcast explaining how the compact works and encouraged new graduates to look into it, which was disseminated to over 5,000 subscribers. We are also working with FSBPT and volunteers to develop the first teacher's module specifically about the PT Compact that can be used in PT and PTA class courses throughout the country. Regular webinars continue with staffing companies and state associations, and for the first time, a webinar was presented for a class of PTs at the University of Missouri. Compact staff was also invited by the APTA to speak at virtual regional meetings of its state association legislative liaisons, providing us with an opportunity to directly answer questions and encourage future legislative action. Communication with the public continued with regular email updates to our list of more than 2,000 subscribers and publication of the 2019 annual report. I would also be remiss if I did not mention the ongoing work of the committees who put in hours of volunteer time to not only keep the compact going, but to improve upon it. Much of that work you will be considering at today's annual commission meeting. One example of the great work done was a new task force that was created in 2020 to review the existing PT compact verification and purchasing system and provide recommendations on potential improvements. The task force met virtually during the summer and provided an extensive report to the executive board that will be invaluable when the system is upgraded in 2021. As interest in the compact has grown, so has the number of inquiries. In 2020, the compact responded to more than 1,000 email inquiries and countless phone calls. Finally, I want to reiterate the growth of the compact, both in terms of the number of compact privileges issued and the number of states participating. This is significant in a time where many organizations and companies are struggling. We have been able to weather the storm thanks to everyone's support. I'll close the report on 2020 with a quick measurement against our goals and projections from last year. Our goal that we set in 2020 was 30 plus compact member states. We have 28 member states so far. Our goal was to have all compact states being active in the compact by the end of 2020. While we have not reached the end of 2020, we still have the majority of states, 20 of those states that are issuing and accepting compact privileges right now. And we had a goal of 1,200 compact privileges issued, which we are far outpacing with already having more than 1,800 compact privileges with 3 months left in the year. As you recall, I said last year that we can never be certain or confidently predict the future. And who could have predicted 2020? But I hope you'll agree we did pretty well given the challenges. Now I want to take just a few more minutes to discuss the projections for 2021 in terms of the legislative outlook and the strategies and initiatives. While it is always difficult to be sure when a state will have implemented all the requirements and be ready to be active in the compact, it seems most likely that Delaware, Georgia, Maryland, and Montana will be ready by the end of the first quarter of 2021. We still need some things to go through in these states, but they are in the home stretch. If that happens, I expect Wisconsin, New Jersey, and South Dakota to follow later in 2021. And finally, South Carolina, since efforts to get this legislative language fix passed in 2020 were thwarted by COVID-19, they will need to reintroduce and pass the legislation in the first half of 2021, and then go through the process of getting the FBI approval, which can take several months. That said, I am still confident that all existing 28 states should be active by the end of 2021, barring any further unforeseen world-changing events. As we look at the possibilities for compact legislation in 2021, I want to first mention what occurred in 2020. In 2020, we had 10 states that had our model legislation introduced and considered, including South Dakota, California, and Alabama, where it was not compact staff or our partners that worked to introduce the legislation, but the state legislators themselves. For example, the push for legislation in Alabama came straight from the Lieutenant Governor's office. Unfortunately, the bills did not pass in California and Alabama, in part because of COVID issues taking priority, and in part because more work needs to be done to educate other legislators. Bills in Massachusetts and Rhode Island also failed due to lack of time with shortened legislative sessions, while bills in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and DC are still under consideration and we hope will pass this year. With the help of APTA and the state associations, we are planning for a strong year in 2021, with a likely introduction of legislation in Connecticut, Indiana, Minnesota, New Mexico, Nevada, and Vermont, and potential interest in Alabama, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, the Virgin Islands, and Wyoming. We have already engaged several of the potential state boards and associations and legislators in conversations about the compact to answer their questions. Bills are already being drafted for pre-filing in a few states. That said, the landscape remains unpredictable, and especially with the pandemic continuing and many states likely facing a budget crunch. Our goal remains to provide the states with the information they need and demonstrate the value of the compact. We will also be working to preemptively address any budgetary concerns that states may have. So let's take a few moments to talk about the things we need to do to build on our 2020 accomplishments and support our legislative efforts and overall growth. First, website enhancements will be made to improve the PT and PTA experience, and most importantly, their knowledge and understanding of the compact. Next, as we work with FSBBT on the upgrade of the compact verification and purchasing system, we will look to see what improvements can be made that will help both compact privilege seekers and the compact member jurisdictions. We will continue outreach with all interested parties, and especially students and teachers, through a new APTA Learning Center module, new student teacher modules, and hopefully more opportunities to speak to PT and PTA classes. We will improve more resources and provide more resources to both compact member state boards and pre-compact state boards. These resources will provide information that can be shared with new and old board members, the physical therapy profession, and the public in general. We will also continue to work with our partners APTA and FSPPT to make sure any issues with the recognition of compact privileges as the equivalent of licenses for the purposes of provider enrollment are resolved in order to ensure we maintain the value of the compact privilege. We will continue to work to assist states in complying with the requirements of the compact and develop training materials to make compliance easier. We will begin to dig deeper into the financial impact of the compact to preemptively address concerns from those states that are still not sure whether or not to join. We will continue to work with states to learn from past experience to reduce the timelines for the implementation of the requirements. Finally, we will start utilizing a valued resource, our member state staff and boards. At the direction of the chair, we will be working to create a peer-to-peer mentoring program that will assist new and existing states in overcoming compact-related challenges and learn from each other. As I close, I want to again set out some goals and projections for 2021 on which we can judge ourselves as we come together again next year. 35 compact member states. 30 states issuing and accepting compact privileges by the end of 2021, and 3,600 plus compact privileges issued, and demonstrably improved PT and PTA and jurisdiction experience with our website and systems. Those are the goals that I'm setting out for us in the coming year. I hope to be able to report we have reached all these goals when I present to you again at the 2021 Annual PT Compact Commission meeting. I thank you for your time and your attention. Have a great day.